welcome as a Wikipedia partner. It's an honor to have you with us, and really excited to, share your story, share your offerings, to talk more about you and your story.
Hi, guys.
I've been talking with a variety of the people as we've been waiting for you to hop in here. So I think we're all ready to go.
Yes, so nice to meet you, Cameron.
Yes, you too. Absolutely. So Mayra, why don't we just kick things off? And what I think, I love to do is immediately pass it to you. And with that, just to, hear a bit about your story, what you're willing to share with us and the Wikipedia community about how you got to where you are right now and what led you into all of this spirit stuff, and why you're doing what you're doing.
Okay. Well, hi, everyone. I see some regular people here. Thank you so much for joining this live. I am Mayra with Soul Ascension Hypnosis. When did I start? I started, I feel like I've always been a spiritual person. I grew up in a very spiritual household. My father was a psychic medium channeler. He was a full body trance channel. So I was actually, just very, it was a daily thing in my home, right? And back then I couldn't really share that with my friends, right? It was almost a secret. It was a secret, I confided very little with a few close friends. I think back late junior high, I started telling people what my dad did, and they were like, what? Because back then it was, even now, people are still uncomfortable with that concept of channeling. And my dad could see like if you were standing in front of him, he can see your grandfather standing next to you. He can connect with your guides. I mean, he was quite a powerhouse. Wow. So for me, I think I learned about reincarnation very young. I remember my father telling me about it in my early teens. And, it just sort of like clicked. And I'm like, wow, yeah. Why would I only be here once, right? So, it wasn't until the late 90s that I started reading books about past life regression. Of course, Weiss was pivotal in me learning about that modality, and just was obsessed with his books. And so that was in the 90s. And then in 1998 is when I reached out to the American Board of Hypnosis, and I wanted to do it. I wanted to conduct past life regression. I didn't know what I was doing. And the crazy part is, once they hand you that certificate, here you go, right? Just go off and you can start now. And I'm like, where do I go? What do I do? So it was really just practicing with friends and family, barely any family, even my family, they weren't really into it. So friends, and they would be my guinea pigs repeatedly. So, so really it just, there was really no, there was no social media, so you couldn't really get your name out. It was really word of mouth. And then I put it on the shelf for a while, right? I did other things. I raised 4 sons, okay? And on occasion, a friend would say, can you do me? And I would, so it was just kind of there. It was this thing that I did, right? So then when I was a makeup artist for about 20 years, and met a lot of girls that would they were a little more interested in the 2000s, right?
Yeah.
mid 2000s. So a lot of my my sessions came from that avenue. I would practice on them and work in them, but honestly, it wasn't until 2020 that changed everything.
Yeah.
I was able to just quit and focus on this full time. And it's just sort of taken a life of its own. And so here I am.
Yeah. Wow. Well, beautiful story. And I'm just still putting it all together because you have such a, you've had so many years of experience, through this since seemingly a very young person. And with your father being just so naturally spiritual himself,
Yeah.
you kind of got exposed early, which I think is
Very.
an interesting thing as well, to consider. But it's sorry, I always want to say a lot of things, but in this particular instance, I just think it's worth noting how 2020, right? I've heard this over and over and over when it comes to the healing space about why that was such a pivotal inflection point. It almost seems like really monumental when it comes to just facilitating this energetic shift that is underway, in parallel with COVID. And I don't think it's coincidental, but it's interesting to note how that was kind of, in many ways, the launching period for so much of growth of this industry, because with COVID, it allowed us to take a pause, right? And to step back, and gave us an extended period of space to ask these deeper questions, to actually examine what life is and what does it mean to be alive? Have we lived more than one life? What is actually going on here? As opposed to just mindlessly continuing on with our routines. COVID 2020 paused the world, and it allowed us to look beyond it as a result. So yeah, really just interesting to note. But thank you for sharing that. And with that, we'd love to just kind of continue on exploring your specific services that you offer now. I know that your focus is on, as a hypnotherapist, past life regression facilitator, and expert. You trained and worked with experts like Weiss, Dolores Cannon. Would love to just know, kind of like from your words and view, what are you doing here when you're offering a past life regression session?
What am I doing? I'm learning with every single one. And the learning never stops, right? It just never stops. And it's gotten to that point where now I'm able to connect people that don't even know each other to a scene on another planet, like they were both there at the same time. Their stories are the same.
Wow.
And so facilitating QHHT, which is Dolores Cannon's technique, that really, once I did that in 2020, what happens is your practice, if you're already doing past it shifts. And it's almost like the universe says, okay, you're ready now to facilitate regressions outside of Earth. And I would say probably about 60% of my sessions are galactic.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. That's super high.
It is high.
Yeah.
And generally, if someone is having one of the advanced sessions, which is, and I'll go over those, but if it's QHHT or Soul Ascension, they are seeing 3 lifetimes, and usually there's one of those 3 that they're going off to another planet and having an experience there.
Okay.
It's a lot. It's a lot.
Yeah.
And I don't know why it has shifted. I'm getting a particular clientele. That's all I can. I have no idea why. It's just that's who they're sending me.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah. And in many ways, you're not choosing this, right? You're just the receiver and working with what's happening as it unfolds. Um, but before we go deeper, Mayra, I just would like to take a quick step back to just for people perhaps who are tuning in, like so many that may not even know exactly what a past life regression is. I guess, people can assume from the name that you're looking at past lives, but can you just spend a couple minutes walking us through what that actually looks like? Like, what is the purpose of a past life regression? What are you doing with it? Why are you doing it? And what does it kind of look like and the experience like for the client?
Mm-hmm. That's a great question. Years ago when I was toying with it and practicing, I had no idea the depth of assistance that it would actually give you. Right now, I realize that your higher self will actually show you a lifetime that you need to see for healing, for closure, for growth, for opportunity. So it's not random at all. I used to think it was random, right?
Yeah.
And then over the years realizing, wow, my clients are they're actually seeing a life that is really necessary, where we're tapping into fears, phobias, why they have those fears in, today, and they have no idea where it's coming from. Right. And so I'm going to be actually, I just finished editing one where my client has panic attacks and a lot of anxiety, and he can't really be around a lot of people. He can't be up close with people. And so what we discovered was that I took him to the San Francisco earthquake.
Okay.
And he was in a building, in a department store, when the quake actually hit. And there were no protocols back then in 1906, zero protocols. And so a group of employees, they ran downstairs and into a basement. And this is where they became trapped. And basically the building had collapsed. And they couldn't, once they went up those stairs, the door was just jammed. They could not get out. And that's where they died. They died in that basement. And so sometimes what happens is,
wow,
especially now that through this ascension, we have ascended just naturally, even whether you know that you're doing it or not, it's happening, and we are all ascending, and we are much more sensitive. And because these lifetimes are all happening this way rather than linear, right? Everything is happening now. Yeah. So when you have these traumatic lifetimes, sometimes those imprints, those energetic imprints, can attach. And your subconscious mind remembers. Consciously you don't, but subconsciously you do. And so with past life regression, it allows you to tap into the imagination. The imagination is the gateway, and it's crucial to believe that, right? Because many people can experience a past life, and one of the first things is you feel like you're making it up, because it's like that easy. It's like, wow, how am I seeing this? Right? Yeah. And so it does feel like you're making it up, but the subconscious mind holds every single memory of your soul's evolution, every lifetime, every experience, even the experience in the non-physical. It's all there.
Yeah. Sorry, keep going. You're just provoking me with interest. So
yes. So through hypnosis, and I want to tap in a little bit to how easy hypnosis actually is. So people think, I get daily, on the daily, I get people that contact me either through email or through comments, you know, saying, I don't think I can be hypnotized, right? And so where does that come from, that belief? And it's not even real. It's not a real thing. Yet it feels real, right? And so this thought becomes a belief. And now you're thinking that you can't. Now you're creating the blocks.
Right.
But
yep.
You can. Everyone can. You just have to kind of let those guards down and realize that all hypnosis is, yes, you are in charge. 1000%, you're in charge. And if you don't trust your practitioner, if you are still in fear and you're in doubt that this is even going to work, then it's not going to work.
Right.
Right. So it's really important that you do have rapport and trust your practitioner. And I provide every single client with a lot homework to start practicing, a list of guidelines to help you, because on occasion there will be that one person that doesn't really take it serious and they still are very, very doubtful, and it doesn't really go anywhere, right?
Sure. Yeah. That makes sense to me too. Just to, kind of point to what you're saying from another view, perhaps, but the necessity of feeling safe with your practitioner, so that your nervous system can settle down and come out of survival mode, meaning that you exit the mind so that you can enter your heart, and in that safety. That's how together you both can access the subconscious mind, because you're no longer now stuck in the mind of fear and doubt and judgment, but now you're out of survival and in the now, quite literally, the safety of the now. Yeah.
Yes. What I want to share is that, you know, hypnosis, I know that we call it a hypnosis state, but honestly, it's not really a state. Okay. It's a technique. Hypnosis is a method that the practitioner is using to get you into a deep, relaxed state, which you do every single night when you go to sleep.
Right.
So you're already doing it. Mm-hmm. And so it's just a matter of reminding people you're already doing it. So why can't you do it with me, right?
Yeah.
You're already there. Every night you surrender. And when you close your eyes and you're in that Dave state, which is monkey mind, right? Yeah. What happens naturally is it starts to quiet down, and now you're slipping into alpha state.
Right.
And there are levels to alpha, for sure. There's light, medium, deep. And as you're falling asleep, you're hitting those states, going deeper.
Yep.
Even in meditation, you're going in that direction. Yeah. And then there's theta, which is very, very deep. That's the state just before you fall asleep. And then there's delta, which is sleep. So that is essentially what is taking place. Is my job is to put you to sleep, but not all the way, right?
Right.
Just before you fall asleep. And I have had sleepers. Okay. I have definitely had sleepers, and that's okay too. People say, what if I fall asleep? I said, fall asleep. It's okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I have a device here in my office too, and I'm in your ears, right? And it's a microphone and earphone here in my office. And if I ask them a question and they don't answer, I'll know that they dropped into that deep sleep. And all I have to do is just say, Cameron, are you still with me? Right? The moment you hear your name, you're just going to go boop, and you just pop back up, and now you're back with me, right?
Yeah. 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 How interesting. Yeah. And Mayra, one thing I also just want to get your opinion on, and something that I've kind of been working through in my own mind about the primary differences between what you could call just perhaps a more traditional form of hypnosis versus, you know, quantum healing hypnosis technique, and looking at hypnosis from the quantum perspective. And the way that I've come to see the primary difference is that generalized hypnosis is more of a mind-based approach through which you're doing what you described in terms of slowing down brainwave states so that you can access their subconscious mind. But it doesn't incorporate the varying dimensions of reality, and looking at past lives and the possibility that there are multiple lives occurring all here in the now. So at the quantum level, right, which is pointing to a universe of infinite possibility,
yeah,
you're looking at, you're being able to tap into other realities, other dimensions of existence that can inform how and why you're experiencing certain blocks here and now in this form. And so you're quite literally performing intergalactic psycho-emotional, mental emotional surgery, so it seems, in terms of
yes,
helping people to, like, work through their karma across varying incarnations, which is incredibly complex and fascinating, and yet it's so simple at the same time, in that all you're accessing is the here and now in the most profound, deep way.
That's right.
So that's how I've come to kind of see the differences between those two. But can you talk more about that?
Yes. Let me just say that a couple days ago, I had a client that had a session, and she went into a life. Oh, this was just so interesting. I mean, I have so many stories, Cameron. It's unbelievable. But this client, she admitted to me, well, let me back it up. She had an earth life as a servant, and she died in a car, one of those old early 1900s cars, right? And then afterwards, when I take her to the afterlife, this is now when you're entering quantum, okay?
Mm-hmm. Right.
She was watching kind of like this, a shape. She just said it's this object that's floating. And she says it almost looks like a jelly bean, like a Mike and Ike, right?
Yeah.
I said, oh, so like a capsule? She goes, yes, it's a capsule. She goes, but I feel like there's something inside. Like I think there's something inside. I said, well, why don't you float? Because she's now in an energy, right? She's not in the physical anymore. Why don't you float over there and see if you can just go inside this capsule? And when she goes inside the capsule, it's this warm, cozy, just like she described it kind of like what the Keebler treehouse would look like, super cozy and warm with soft lighting, right? But then what happened was a flash of a gray popped into her awareness very fast. It came in and it came out, and I already knew what was going on. Okay. Just from the years of experience, I know what's going on. This is a spaceship, and it's in disguise because she's not comfortable, right? And when I woke her up, she was able to get some information, some channeled information. But what she said when she woke up was very important. She said, I can't believe you think that was a spaceship that was under disguise. And I said, why? She says, well, I was terrified of seeing aliens. And I made sure before I started my session with you for days, I was saying, please don't show me any aliens. I don't want to see ETs. He was giving them the list of, don't show me this. She was not ready. And they're ready to say, hey, it's time to wake up. But they're not going to do it so abruptly. This is how loving and benevolent they are. Okay, that they disguised this jelly bean, right? and they disguised her spaceship. And this gray popped in just for a moment, because this is truly who she is, right? When they show up like that, and it's just time to start waking up. And if you're not waking up, you're blocking. You know, people say, I want this awakening, but then it's coming with rules. Yeah, but don't show me this.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I don't want to see this. But there's so much I can say about the quantum field and what takes place. And there's a lot through this various sessions that I offer. The between lives, I also do the life between lives, where you're able to meet your guides. You go to the Akashic records, where you learn more. Even in your records, you learn more about some of your other lifetimes and lessons. And then your guide takes you to your soul family, and you get to see, they line up for you. It's just so incredible up there. I mean,
yeah.
You get to meet your council. You have a council of light. So the between lives is really incredible. Then should I just go ahead and talk about the different sessions I offer?
Yeah, I would love that. And I just would like to echo one point again that you mentioned earlier that I think is worth reiterating here, which is that if you have a thought that this can't possibly be real, or you're in fear, or there's some type of block that you're carrying and bringing into this, it's going to prevent you from realizing the benefits from the services you offer and provide. These what quite literally could be described as otherworldly services in a very ego predominated world. It's easy to call it as illegitimate, or to point to it as something that's woo-woo or not actually of truth, right? And what I want to just reiterate here is that, which is what you pointed to, it's why it's so important to come into this with a willingness to see that, a willingness and the faith of infinite possibility. That because coming in with that type of openness and willingness and acceptance is going to be the gateway and vehicle through which you can do this work with them. Yes. But if you come in and you're blocked and you're carrying doubt, it's already over from when it started, right? So I just wanted to echo that point, because that was part of my awakening too for a very long time. Not to get into it, but in general, just doubting God, doubting the possibility of God, traveling along these atheistic and agnostic states of consciousness. It prevented me from seeing the truth. And it was only when I surrendered and let go and opened the door of possibility to something greater beyond myself was I able to realize the quantum realm, to experience it firsthand. So I just wanted to really echo that point, because I think for the nature of this type of hypnosis and this type of healing modality, openness, acceptance, willingness for it to even be possible is critical and necessary.
Yes, it is. I when I send my guidelines, part of it is a list of affirmations to begin to speak. And it's so cute how some clients send me pictures. They put it on their desktops. They put them as reminders on their phone, because it's just shifting. It's already shifting them to believe and to be open and to allow, right?
Yeah.
Because everyone has been just so programmed.
Yeah.
Really helpful. It's important that your ego begin to hear those affirmations prior to a session.
Yeah. For sure. Okay, great. So just I know you mentioned a variety of your sessions that you offer in terms of your past life regression sessions. And you talked about a couple others, but just to kind of wrap up your offerings that you provide you know, through your website and wherever else.
Yes. So there is the Between Lives. That one you
Yeah.
do need experience. I would not recommend that for a beginner, because you're actually going through a past life regression and beyond, right? And if you're just starting out and your ego is still really present, it's probably not the best choice for you, right?
Yeah.
So I do have the past life regression. I also have one called Past Life Regression Akashic Hypnosis. So again, it's going to be that visit to one of your lifetimes, and then we keep going, and your guide takes you to the Akashic records, and some really beautiful stuff happens there, and family shows up as well, sometimes pets. It's just the sweetest thing. Sometimes you're in the records and you're like, oh my God, there's Bingo. And Bingo is just there. He's just there, and it's just so beautiful. Then there is the quantum healing hypnosis technique. That is Dolores Cannon's technique.
Yeah.
And so I'll be honest, with QHHT, it has to be in person, right? And I was, I'd been doing this for so many years, and I just felt that there was too much structure in QHHT. I've started channeling myself. I love, love, love working with the divine, with ascended masters, with archangels. And with QHHT, it's kind of in a box, and it's very simple. Seeing those past lives, you're definitely going into quantum, but it's really connecting with the higher self, and that's it, So channeling and all of that. So this is why I created my own version, my own technique,
right,
that is from all my teachers, right? Yes. A little bit of this, and a little bit of that, and a little bit of what I've received from Spirit. And so I created, my absolute favorite is the Soul Ascension Hypnosis.
Okay.
And I provide all of my sessions remotely, for the exception of QHHT, right?
Yep.
But there are alternatives to that. I have packages as well, which is great. Those are for people that really want to dig deep and see multiple lives. So, and I'm very excited to be a partner with Awakenpedia and offer the members of Awakenpedia with a $50 discount for past life regressions, as well as the QHHT or Soul Ascension $50 for bookings. So
thank you. That's sweet. Appreciate that. And that your profile, your inner member form, and those offerings are in there, so everyone can go and check Mayra's profile out and book directly through that. So wonderful. Yeah, and I believe, did I see also that you could have a past life regression training course as well? Or
yes. So
you forgot what it is.
Literally that fell on my lap. Okay.
Yeah.
You know how I was telling you about the life between life, and I have been in complete awe of the sessions that I've conducted. And, I sit here and listen to how remarkable the experience is in the afterlife or quantum space. And I personally have never had one, right? I've done QHHT multiple times. I've done PLR, I've seen over 30 lifetimes, but I had not done the life between lives. So I said, okay, I'm just gonna go through the Michael Newton Institute, and I'm gonna have one done. So they have a list of practitioners, and I chose one that I resonated. I visited many times before I pulled the trigger. And so I finally had my session a few months ago. And, when you get two hypnotherapists in the room, we talked for like 2 hours, even before the session started. And we had just such a wonderful, it was incredible, and he's incredible. And our styles are very different. And he just reached out to me afterwards, and he's been teaching for years. Okay. He is a co-author of several of the Newton Institute books. He has been doing Life Between Life for over 20 years. His name is Scott Fitzgerald Tamble. And when he reached out to me and he said, I'd love to teach with you. I'd love to bring you on and teach with me. And are you interested? And I said, of course. So, he has all the curriculum already ready to go. So yes, we're going to be teaching our first class together. It's coming up the first 2 weekends of November. And, you're going to be getting a lot of experience between him and I. We're going to give you so much information. It's a 120-page manual. And yeah, it's you're going to have everything that you need to start.
Sure.
Just like I did, and in the beginning it's practice, but you can truly grow this and become a past life regression practitioner.
Yeah.
And so I'm really excited about that.
Amazing. Yeah, that sounds incredible. And I just want to affirm you and to those tuning in about the possibility to actually become a certified past life regression and practitioner in this space, because as I think we pointed to earlier in this chat, anybody can channel. Channeling, and I want to normalize that too, to reinforce it, because that's something I realized along my journey, because all of the teachings that I created through Wikipedia are channeled teachings, and I never knew what that was, or when I was younger, I just thought it was for crazy psychics that I just never could be. Something I didn't know. But as I just continue to rise in consciousness and continue to heal myself and really clear out the egoic mind so that I could hear and connect to the inner voice, I realized that channeling was simply a function of your level of consciousness. And so as I can imagine, your training program is related, if not directly related, to that concept of helping you to get out of your own way so that you can connect with the higher self and download and channel information from the quantum realm. So, again, I just want to reiterate that, because the stuff we're talking about here, Mayra, admittedly to the world sounds pretty crazy sometimes, right? Oh, yeah. And I just want to help people bridge that gap to see that I was a normal just finance kid that working on Wall Street that went to Yale and was climbing the corporate ladder, and I turned this way. Divine transformation happened to me and through me, and it's just, I think it points to the idea that this can happen to anyone. Awakening does not discriminate. No. And it's a beautiful thing. And so, the stuff we're offering here, the services we're providing, are practical, deeply practical, and they ultimately can help you and will help you to live much more balanced, healthy, peaceful lives that are rooted in intention and rooted in power. So, that's how I'll end it.
Yeah, no, what you have here is beautiful. This concept, Awakenpedia. So many people need community right now. Yeah. And I can't tell you how many people have come to me also because they want to do this so badly. They want to see who they've been, where they've been, and they can't share it with anyone. Yeah. With anyone. No one in their family. I've had Christian women come to see me. They seem very, very nervous, And unfortunately, they can't share it with their friends because they're from church.
Yeah.
But it's happening even when you are involved in religion. It is happening. It's happening around the world. And
Yeah.
so creating a community like this, what you have done, is so important for people, to give them access to, to others, to connect and learn more. So I think it's wonderful.
Thank you. Thank you for saying that, and for capturing the heart of the mission and one of its primary aims, which is to ultimately bring love and connection to all of us, through realization of who we truly are, beyond the vessel. So yeah, beautiful.
I don't know if there's questions. Do we answer any questions on here, or
No, not
this? Okay.
not typically, Mayra, but if people do have questions, the best way would obviously through your own website or in the member forum. People can reach out to you directly, start up conversations, just kind of collaborate there, and they can do video chats,
Yeah.
voice chats, text chats, whatever it is. So that would be a good place to follow up on this conversation. And this video will be posted in the member forum as well, so people can reference it. But yeah,
if I can just add, if anyone is interested in listening to full sessions, I do have over 200 sessions on my YouTube channel that you can listen to, as well as my podcast. All the links are on my bio, so you can go there and find me on all the platforms.
Yeah, perfect.
Great.
Wonderful. Well, all of those things will be included in the member form as well. So lots of Mayra to going around. Thank you so much for being here, for being a part of the Awakenpedia family, for joining and supporting this mission. Really looking forward to working with you and helping you to grow your practice inside and outside Awakenpedia, and to bring past life regression, to the main stage.
Yes.
Quantum healing, hypnosis technique, the genesis of that idea. I think it's just in its infancy of catching fire, and it's just it's on its way. So really looking forward to helping you build this.
Thank you.
Show it to the world.
Oh, thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay. All right.
Thank you, Cameron.
Bye-bye.
Bye.